We've all heard the saying, you get what you pay for. And in the world of cameras, it's often assumed that the more expensive the gear, the better the photos. But is that really true? Today, we're going to bust some common camera myths that many people take for granted. From megapixels to brand loyalty, we're diving deep into the truth behind these popular beliefs. You might be shocked by what you learn. More megapixels equals better image quality. Many photographers, especially beginners, are under the impression that the higher the megapixels, the better the image quality. After all, more pixels should equal more detail, right? Well, that's not always the case. While it's true that a higher megapixel count allows you to print bigger photos or crop into your images without losing sharpness, it's not the only factor that determines image quality. The size of the sensor plays a much more important role. Larger sensors are capable of capturing more light, resulting in better dynamic range and less noise in low-light conditions. For example, the Canon EOS R5 and the Nikon Z7 are full-frame mirrorless cameras with around 45 megapixels. However, even though they offer high resolution, you might not notice the difference in everyday photography compared to a Sony A7 III, which has 24 megapixels, but a larger, more capable sensor that excels in low-light performance. Let's not forget about lens quality, either. No matter how many megapixels your camera has, if the lens is subpar, you won't get sharp, detailed images. The bottom line, megapixels are important, but they aren't the only thing that determines a camera's ability to capture beautiful photos. For instance, a 12MP full-frame camera like the Nikon D750 often produces better quality photos in low light compared to a 24MP crop sensor camera like the Canon EOS M6 Mark II in similar conditions. You need a full-frame camera to be a pro. Another common myth is the belief that to be taken seriously as a photographer, you need a full-frame camera. It's a common assumption, especially given that full-frame cameras like the Canon EOS R5 or Nikon Z7 are marketed toward professionals. But the truth is, crop sensor cameras, APS-C, can be just as powerful, especially for specific use cases. For instance, the Canon EOS R7 and Sony A7 III are crop sensor cameras that can produce professional-grade images and video. These cameras may not have the same low-light performance as full-frame models, but their image quality is still excellent for everyday shooting. The Canon EOS M50 Mark II, though an affordable crop sensor camera, still delivers exceptional photos for social media content creators, event photographers, and vloggers. Moreover, crop sensors offer greater reach with telephoto lenses, making them ideal for wildlife and sports photographers. For example, using a 70 to 200 millimeters lens on a crop sensor camera like the Nikon D500 gives you an effective focal length of 105 to 300 millimeters, providing a longer zoom range without needing to buy more expensive telephoto lenses designed for full-frame cameras. Many photographers swear by certain brands, believing that each brand has its own unique qualities that make their images stand out. For example, some argue that Canon has better color, while others say that Nikon produces sharper images. However, in reality, image quality doesn't solely depend on the brand. While each brand has its strengths, such as color profiles, handling, or autofocus performance, the core of your image quality comes down to the sensor, lenses, and how you use the gear. Let's look at Canon EOS cameras like the R5 and R6. Canon is known for its warm color, which can be especially beneficial for portrait photography. On the other hand, Sony's A7 IV has incredible autofocus capabilities and sharpness, and its sensor performance in low light is often superior to Canon's. But that doesn't mean one is better than the other. It just means that they excel in different ways depending on your style. Take the Nikon Z50, for example, a crop sensor camera. While some may argue that Nikon's full-frame cameras, like the Z6 II, are better in terms of image quality, the Z50 still offers impressive performance for most photography needs, including sharp details and vibrant colors. The difference comes down to what suits your specific needs and style of photography. Lens choice and post-processing have more of an impact on image quality than brand loyalty ever could. You have to spend big money on lenses. There's a common misconception that the most expensive lenses will automatically give you the best performance. While it's true that high-end lenses often offer exceptional sharpness, bokeh, and build quality, they're not always necessary for every photographer. In fact, third-party lenses from brands like Sigma and Tamron can offer impressive performance at a fraction of the cost. For example, the Sigma 18 to 50mm f/2.8 lens is incredibly sharp and offers a wide aperture. It's priced much lower than similar Canon RF or Sony G Master lenses. This makes it a great option for photographers looking for a budget-friendly lens with high-quality results. The Tamron 28 to 75mm f/2.8 lens is another fantastic third-party option that works well on cameras like the Sony A7 R4 or Canon EOS R6, providing excellent sharpness and flexibility without the high price tag. Additionally, while pro-level lenses often come with features like weather sealing and faster autofocus, many photographers find that they can achieve great results with affordable lenses, especially when they're shooting in controlled environments or using a tripod. Spending a little less on lenses doesn't mean you'll compromise on your photography. What matters most is using the right lens for the job. The more features, the better the camera. With so many features being added to new camera models every year, it's easy to think that the camera with the most features will be the best choice. However, having more features doesn't necessarily translate into better photos or videos. In fact, many high-end cameras come with so many options that it can become overwhelming to use all the functions effectively. Take the Sony A7 III, an amazing camera known for its incredible video capabilities, 4K at 120 frames per second, and exceptional autofocus. While it's perfect for videographers and content creators, it may not be necessary for someone whose primary focus is still photography. On the other hand, cameras like the Fujifilm X, T4, or Canon EOS R6 strike a balance between photo and video features, offering great performance without overwhelming users with excessive options. Sometimes, a simpler camera with fewer features can actually help you focus on the fundamentals of photography rather than getting distracted by the technology. For example, the Nikon Z50 or Canon EOS M6 Mark II is a great entry-level mirrorless camera that offers solid image quality and usability for hobbyists, yet lacks some of the advanced features found in higher-end models. You need the latest gear to stay relevant. With the constant release of new camera models, many photographers feel the pressure to always upgrade their gear. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that you need the latest and greatest camera to stay competitive in the photography world. However, the truth is that skills and creativity are far more important than having the newest gear. Take the Canon EOS R5 Mark III, a camera that was released nearly a decade ago, but still produces fantastic results. Many top photographers still use older models like the Nikon D750 or the Sony A7 II to this day, because they're incredibly capable, even if newer versions are available. A great example is Lindsay Adler, a renowned portrait photographer who continues to use the Canon R5 Mark III in her shoots, proving that technique is far more important than the latest model. The truth is, upgrading your camera every year doesn't make you a better photographer. Instead, investing in your skills, whether that's through practice, learning new techniques, or improving your editing workflow, would do far more to improve your work than constantly chasing the newest gear. So, what have we learned today? Expensive gear isn't always the answer, and there are plenty of myths that can mislead photographers into spending more than they need to. The truth is, image quality is about much more than just megapixels or brand names. It's about understanding your gear, using it wisely, and making the most of the tools you already have. Next time someone tells you that you need to spend big money on gear to be a good photographer, remember these myths and make a more informed decision. If you learned something new today, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more camera myths that need to be busted.